Alright, good morning everybody.
Good morning.
I hope you're doing well. Just checking this attendance stuff. Okay, so number one, our system, the Edward system, since yesterday doesn't seem to work well. So I was not able to upload the study guides for chapter 1 and 2 and also for chapter 3. So I tried again yesterday night. It did not work, so sorry for that. Hopefully today we'll have the problem fixed. This is why you don't have today's PPT, right? This is why you don't have it. Nevertheless, it's a very important chapter when we're talking about pregnancy and lactation. So what did I say? The first 3 chapters was kind of an introduction a little bit into nutrition, so that we can start to enter into the matter now. Okay? So we're going to spend a lot of time on this chapter. We'll see how things go. It may take 2 weeks to go over the whole thing, but we'll take our time. Go slowly and look at some problems. Again, we want to make this class as practical as possible, not only for the exam, right? We don't study for the exam. We want to apply what we studied. Okay. So chapter 1 was overview of nutrition. Chapter 2, what did we learn? How we should plan a healthy diet, right? And the 3rd chapter, now we start to see the relationship between what we eat and our health. And I gave you some nutrients, and we're going to focus on some diseases. We're not going to look at all of it. Now this is the 2nd part of the program, where we look at the life cycle. Okay? Life cycle, it starts where we start with a couple who decide to have a baby. All right, and from there we understand that the nutrition of a woman, the health of a woman, and the health of a man is very important. Even though for this class we focus a lot on the health of the mother, all right, because of the direct relationship with the fetus, with the baby. We still have to look at some point at the health of a man. Okay. So, but before we start, I just want to answer some questions. I'm still sick. I don't know why. 2 weeks is too long, right? Kind of too long. I'm drinking a special formula, not from China, but very close. I would like to answer to some questions very quickly before we move on. Sometimes people see me after class, and sometimes we have questions that I was not able to answer during the class. I think Alberto asked a question about the water content in the honey, something like that. What? You asked a question about water content, how much water we may have in the honey. No?
No, I didn't. That was the French.
That was the
other class.
that was the other guy. Okay. All right, thank you. So I'll answer to that one too. And I realized, because we have the nutrition class and the food science class as well, we have some students who are taking the 2 classes. Yeah, sometimes it's confusing. So it's possible that in this class I did not give you the definition of what is phytochemicals. Talk about phytochemicals in general. It's something that we saw in the food science class, also in the nutrition class as well. All right. So the general definitions. So these are chemicals, right? So these are chemicals that we found. So chemicals that we found in plants that have possible anti-carcinogenic effect, or if you want, they may have some health effect. Minju, you asked me a question about this one, right? Yeah. I think you're not on the other class. All right. So, so they have a different, health benefit. We don't classify them as nutrients, but when you use them in your diet, so you improve. You improve your health in terms of the work. For example, in DNA repair, you can also use them to really help you reduce the risk of heart disease. Okay, so and I put anti-carcinogenic effect, carcinogenic cancer. So they may have anti-cancer properties as well. Okay, is the little bit of the same way we talk about antioxidant that we found in food. You also mentioned the antioxidant one. Very simple example. For example, if you take the apple, you cut the apple, color is changing, oxidation is taking place. Then you can just imagine if oxidation is taking place in your body like that, right? So antioxidants are very important, for our health as well, and you can also see that related to your skin, aging. So this is why it's recommended that we eat a lot of fruit and vegetables. All right. Did you have any other questions I was not able to answer in class or after? No? Everybody's good? But nevertheless, if things are not clear, you can send me some questions. You have my Kakao contact, my phone number. All right. So we can go from there. Okay. All right. So now let's start. Working, not working. 1, 2, 3. All right, working. So pregnancy and lactation. Like I said, a very important chapter. And probably we start by talking about fertility. All right. So fertility is the ability to have children. All right. The ability to have children, and that fertility may be affected So this is, if you want, is like actual production of children. Okay? So how do we know you are fertile? Okay, you can have children or you're having children. Alright? Okay. So I'll write a little bit more today since you don't have the PPT. Alright. So what did I put here? I put that nutrition, alright? Or what we put in our body, alright, can affect our ability to have children, or the production of children, or we talk about fertility. And I will give you some other definitions after, because a person can actually be pregnant, alright, and as they move forward, the baby can die in the process, or the baby can die just after birth, alright. So this is why we have to really spend time and really understand what is taking place here. I was explaining to some people yesterday that, in my opinion, when the decision is made that, oh, we want to have children, in my opinion, is actually a 3-year process. Because at least for a year, you need to change your food habit. Okay? You want to make sure that you are healthy. Okay? And for that, what did I put here? It's important that we achieve and maintain a healthy body weight. Our reference, when we look at a couple of days ago, on Monday, we look at nutrition assessment. Why do we do the nutrition assessment? We want to be able to identify population who are at risk of being malnourished. Okay? One of the measurements that we use is what we call anthropometric measurement. Okay? In anthropometric measurement, one of the common things that we look at is the body mass index. All right? And we look at it a little bit later when you look at the weight of the mother, because her weight will change. So we say achieve and maintain a healthy body weight. For what we learned here, what is a healthy body weight? How much is it?
Until 24.9.
From what to what? Because he said until 24.9, which is okay. But we have a minimum and we can say a maximum, right? So what will be the healthy body weight? Yeah, how much? Yeah, so we'll say, generally speaking, we'll go from 18.5 to 24.9 kilogram per square meter. Now, in the factors affecting our ability to have children, you know, this is why I asked him to give the first number as well, is that if you are underweight, okay, that may also affect, you know, the ability to have children, okay? So it's very important to understand that when we talk about nutrition assessment, we look, okay, we look at people who are, we talk about malnutrition, we look at people who are underweight. Underweight is not good, okay? It's not good. And being like obese is not ideal either, all right? So these two groups, right, have a higher chance of having problem in terms of fertility here, all right? So, number 2, we kind of repeat itself here, choose an adequate and balanced diet. Then we look at it in chapter 2. And again, everything has to come together when we talk about our healthy diet. We look at factors that are very important when we talk about kilocalorie control, talking about nutrient density. And I keep telling you, it's not so much how much you eat, but it's what do you eat. Okay, okay? Number 3, be physically active. Okay? And, you know, we keep repeating that, our physical activity must be important in our life. All right? Receive regular medical care. This is something that is also, we have to keep in mind. Manage chronic conditions. And I will talk about this, I don't know if we will have a time to look at it today. I will focus on, for this chapter, I will focus on 3 diseases. I will look at high blood pressure, okay? I will look at diabetes, okay? And we will look at the fetal alcohol syndrome. Fetal alcohol syndrome. And why it is very dangerous for potential mothers to actually take alcohol while they are pregnant. Okay? This is why I said we have these 3 years. So the first year, which is important, to prepare yourself to be healthy. When I say yourself, I'm not talking about the mother only. I'm also talking about men, to make sure that the seed that is used is actually a healthy one. And the pregnancy usually takes 9 months, which is almost a year. So during that time is actually the most critical time, because now we have a baby who's coming, and there is a relationship, a direct contact between the mother, and the fetus. So then it takes almost a year to really nourish that baby with good nutrients. And this is why we look at some nutrients again in terms of deficiency, because if you have deficiency of some nutrient, what will happen? The baby will be affected. You understand? So again, when you study, don't just study chapter 1 or 2, try to understand the whole thing. And when the baby is born, I keep mentioning that, and it's very important that the mother at least breastfeed the baby for at least 6 months, sometimes a year. So that year is a critical time, because after she gives birth, and if she does not have a good diet, and she likes to party downtown Daegu, okay, the breast milk is still going to be affected. For example, having alcohol in your body may go through the milk, or coffee may go to the milk. All right? So this is why I say, okay, it's a critical time, almost like 3 years, of really a healthy lifestyle. You understand? So, so it's something that we have to look at carefully here. All right? When I talk about avoid harmful influences, this is what I'm talking about, right? Smoking, alcohol. And as you know, you may not smoke, but if you are in an environment where people are smoking, what we call passive smoking, you're actually smoking as well. Okay? And also talking about environmental factors. All right, so talking about the infertility, 50% of couples are infertile. So it's possible that you are healthy, the couple is a healthy couple, but still people are not having children. 50% of the cases. 44% of couples diagnosed with infertility, they will eventually conceive without use of technology. Okay? So, takes sometimes time, but it happens. Healthy couples have 20 to 25% chance of conception within a given menstrual cycle. This is like a very high percentage, right? Okay. So, what does it mean? All of you guys are a big miracle. All right? So, you should be happy and love yourself, right? You made it to earth. Okay? So, the rate of infertility lower in women who use iron supplement or iron from plant food. What did we say last week? Deficiency of iron may lead to which disease? Yeah. Okay? And I mentioned this part a little bit, especially when we talk about the vegetarian diet, the vegan diet, okay? Where supplements, in that case, will be needed to make sure that they have enough iron and they may not be blood deficient, okay? So, then, again, keep that in mind. You have here iron deficiency, normal cases, risk of anemia. And in case of a lady who wants to have a baby, all right, then we have a second case, which means that that deficiency can actually increase the risk of infertility. Okay. So just do the parallel. Keep filling your table, and so that you keep gathering information. Now, talking about the body mass index, all right. What will be ideal when we talk about infertility here? We say fertility is production of children, all right. So infertility, PAMD, opposite, okay. Here, infertility lower with BMI below 120 or over 20. Okay? So when you say, okay, in that case, we'll say that, okay, the best, we say healthy weight will be to have maybe around 20 to 24.5 or 25. Okay? Alright, so now, I will talk about alcohol much later. But it's still good to know that even if you take 1 to 5 drinks, alright, it will decrease the chance of conception, the chance of having a baby, by 39%. Okay, guys? So this is what I said, that it's going to take a time because of our habit. Every weekend in Korea, people are into soju, chimek, somek. And the day that we say, oh, okay, I want to have children, so then we understand that we have to change our lifestyle, okay? Because 1 to 5 drinks will reduce the chance of conception by 39%. This is big, okay? It's pretty big. And now if you take over 10 drinks, okay? And I'm talking on a weekly basis, right? In a weekly basis. It reduces by 66%. It becomes even much higher. All right? It becomes even much higher. So, which means that if a woman, very important when I talk about alcohol here, so I put here, when when they are trying to get pregnant, right? When women are trying to get pregnant, so it is recommended that they do what? In terms of alcohol, what should they do? So they should restrict, okay? They should restrict their alcohol intake. Okay, guys? Very important. Very, very important. So, yeah.
The five part, you're saying that if the BMI is lower than 20 and the BMI is higher than 30, you have, is there a lower risk of infertility or because I get about the higher than 30 part, but I don't get about lower than 20.
Yeah, good point here. When we talk about infertility here, very good point. Yeah, look, we are talk. When we look at it, I will show you the figure very soon. How much weight the lady actually must gain based on the body mass index. Actually, let me jump over it so I will answer to your question immediately. All right. Let me see what we have here. Because ideally, from what Peter says, we do have, okay, right here. All right, so what we know is ideally is to be like 19 to 24.5 ideal weight. But what is taking place here is that during pregnancy, a woman must gain weight, right? She must gain a little bit of weight here. So here, for example, if she was underweight, it may happen that she was underweight. For a single birth, we would like her to actually gain 12.5 to 18.5 kilogram. All right. So this is actually based on her body mass index, which means that even if she gain weight, right, we don't want her to be like obese. And I will explain that in a minute. Maybe not in a minute. When we will talk about diabetes, okay? We will be talking about gestational diabetes. This is the diabetes that is taking place during pregnancy. All right? Why is it taking place during pregnancy? Because we have that nutrition change that took place. Every time you eat, what is the body doing? The food is changed into sugar, all right? And then the insulin, which is the key, the insulin job, what is the insulin doing? It will actually reduce the sugar level in the blood. But in this case, for example, all right, what is taking place here is that the insulin is not working, okay? And when the insulin is not working here, the sugar level is actually high and high. So now we have gestational diabetes. Diabetes that is taking place during the pregnancy. Before pregnancy, she did not have diabetes. So then we say, ideally, let us stay between 20, okay? But let us not be 20 to 30, but let's not be obese, okay? Because she must gain weight, right? She's not eating for 2 people, okay? The mother is not eating for 2 people, so she cannot keep her normal weight. You understand? Did you guys understand Peter's problem? Because we say, okay, we want ideally, 18.5 to 24.5, this is ideal BMI. But when now you have somebody, right, you cannot eat the same quantity, you have to eat a little bit more, but not in excess, okay? Not in excess. You don't want to be obese in that case. Yeah.
Isn't under 20, isn't BMI under 20 too much underweight for a pregnant lady?
This is why we put between 20 to 30. What did I put? Did I put under 20?
You wrote under 20 and over 30.
All right, let's check it right now. All right, so here, yeah. So the 20 here we say is the minimum. We don't want to be on the 20 really. It's kind of a borderline. So we say okay between 20, but we don't want to be over 30.
Oh, so it's the symbols should be the different ways.
So I should have put BMI over 20.
Yeah, over 20.
From 20 to 30.
Yeah.
All right, good point. All right, very good point. So we'll change the sign here to make sure we put between 20 and 30. Okay? Excellent point. Another question? Everybody understand here? Question? All right. So now, on this page, I have some definitions that are very important to understand here. Like I told you, it's possible that the baby can actually die in the process. All right. So, and the definition is a little bit different if you are in the UK or if you are in America and Korea. It can be a little bit different. But generally speaking, we have cases of stillbirth, even though miscarriages are often the most, encountered. Miscarriages is a spontaneous abortion. So we lose the baby after the first 20 weeks of pregnancy. Okay? So here the baby dies. Only after 20 weeks, you are all happy, and suddenly, after 20 weeks, the baby is dead. Okay. The stillbirth is the death of a baby before or during birth after 24 weeks of gestation in the UK. But the World Health Organization is after 28 weeks. Okay. So you have many cases like that, and you also have the case of neonatal death, the death of a baby within the first 28 days of life. And we have cases like that too. Sometimes you can just wake up and the baby is dead, right? So these cases also happen. So this is why it's very important to really make sure that we pay attention to the whole process. The miscarriages part is where I usually spend most time, the main reason associated to it is a defect in the fetus. You know, the baby inside already has a problem. Okay, and now we're going to look at some of the problems that the fetus can actually have. All right, so it's the most common cause of miscarriage for women. Also, we may have maternal infection. Okay, so there are different cases where the mother may be affected and it may affect the baby. Structural abnormalities of the uterus, okay, and sometimes cannot really hold the baby, and after a time, you know, the baby can also die. Okay, so and so we look at some of those things, but I will only focus on deficiency of some nutrients that are mentioned and the disease associated with them. Remember, last time I talked to you about folate or folic acid. That the first time when we know, okay, we're pregnant, immediately the doctor has to prescribe folate. Okay. Also look at the fibers and how much we need. Okay. So this is what I was mentioning in terms of the direct relationship between the mother and the baby through the placenta. You have a better vision here. Okay, so very important to understand here that everything is actually going through there. All right. The only exception is the insulin that is not going through them. But water, cholesterol, oxygen, they are all transported through the placenta. Okay? So this is why it's very, very critical for the mother to have a very, very, very good diet, a healthy diet. All the insulin is not transported through there. Alright? So now here in this picture, you just have the different stages. I was not going to spend really time on this one. I was hoping that you have the PPT, so you can see the different stages of a child development. All right. So hopefully we'll be able to upload the PPT for you guys today, and we can go through it so that we can really focus on the nutrients, the deficiency, how much do we need during the pregnancy, and how can we solve some problems. Okay. Now, I would like to talk about these two common problems that often happen with folate deficiency. All right. So we talk about encephaly. You know, we have a problem either that the brain is either missing or failed to develop. All right. So if you, I did not put that picture there, but I put the picture next time where you see like the brain of the baby did not develop. Okay, and here when you look at some of the vitamins the other day, it happens with folate deficiency. Okay, let me put it for you guys here. So folate is part of which group of vitamins? Do you remember? Folic acid. So we have folate, or if you want, folic acid. So immediately now, when the people are pregnant, this is the first thing that the medical doctor will actually prescribe. All right. So so this one, this B vitamin, can do what? It can reduce the risk of neural tube defects. So what are they? Such as, like I mentioned here, spina bifida. I'll show you the picture in a minute. And you know what? You can actually reduce it by 70%. Okay? So usually we prescribe, it's not that much. We prescribe around 600 microgram. For the first trimester, we prescribe around 600 microgram. But sometimes, there is a problem with the zinc, because we also prescribe the zinc, and then there is some type of problem that happened there, because the zinc during the pregnancy, in a higher dose, may actually be needed, right? So, and folic acid may interfere with the zinc at that time. So we don't want to prescribe too much of the folic acid. Usually we say, okay, 600 is okay, and if we prescribe the zinc as well, we don't want to prescribe the folic acid over 800. Generally 600 is actually acceptable. Okay? So here, when we talk about spina bifida, here we have incomplete closure of the spinal cord or its bone encasement. This is what you have here. Okay? So you have a normal spine right here. Okay? But we can see here that this one was not properly closed. Alright? So these are the cases that we can have because of folic acid deficiency. Okay, the other element that we saw the other day was calcium. What do we need the calcium for? Do you remember? Yeah. So this is also very important, and this is why planning the diet is actually very important for the mother. And then the vegetarian mother has to actually pay more attention to make sure that she has enough calcium for the development of her baby and make sure that the bones are well formed. Okay? So, alright, I'll show you guys this picture in a minute. I'll prepare another table for you guys in terms of which nutrients we need and how much of them do we actually need here. So the maternal weight, like I mentioned to Peter a couple of minutes ago, will change. Okay, but we don't want to change it to the excess. So these are recommendation numbers that you have here, depending if it's a single birth, meaning we have one baby coming, or we are dealing with twins. So of course, this is the healthy weight between 18.5 to 24.5. Then it will be recommended to gain 18.5 to 16 kilogram. It's a lot, maximum. Okay, maximum. And if it's a twin birth, a little bit more. And if you are overweight or obese, you can see that if you are already overweight, if the person is already overweight, you can see that we don't want the person to actually gain more than what she has right now. Okay? And we'll explain that again later when we talk about these other chronic diseases. Right? Still remember the picture of obesity that is associated with other chronic diseases such as high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, atherosclerosis, heart disease. Okay? So we really have to be careful with it. And now, if the mother has a BMI over 30, do you see how much weight she has to gain? Okay? Here is even much smaller, 5 to 9 kilograms. All right, 5 to 9 kilograms. So, so these are the things. So these are the things that we have to keep in mind as we move forward. In chapter 2, we mentioned that again, the importance of having a healthy diet. The guide for healthy pregnancy. Of course, we have a good idea now. Good nutrition, healthy weight gain, not an excess. Physical activity. The physical activity part, we really have to be careful, because if the mother was not physically active before, during pregnancy, this is not the time to be extremely physically active. Okay? And I did not mention it also before, people who are into a lot of exercise, very physically active, can also create at one point of time a problem of infertility depending on the sport that they are doing. Prenatal supplements sometimes may be required, but oftentimes with a good diet, we may not need a supplement. Okay, this is why checking with the medical doctor is always critical. Okay, just to make sure that we don't like anything. I mentioned this one before. Avoid harmful substances such as what? Cigarettes, tough drug like cocaine, and things like that. Okay, and for this class, we'll focus on alcohol. All right, we look at alcohol and. So here, you get on your PPT, with just an example, just to show you a little bit the recommendation in terms of the vitamins and the minerals. For non-pregnant, in green, you have it for non-pregnant ladies. Here pregnant, and now lactating, the mother who's breastfeeding. All right, so we'll jump a little bit over this part, and I'll show you how to do some calculations in terms of the energy that we need, that the mother needs in addition to the normal one. So, generally speaking, we say that the mother will need extra 500 kilocalories a day. Okay. Extra to make sure that the baby is properly fed. We look at the carbohydrates, protein, and the other essential nutrients. All right. So I mentioned this already, and it's something that everybody must know. Like I said earlier, that folate is going to help you to prevent septal malformation, spina bifida, and anencephaly. Has to do like with the brain formation. Spina bifida, right? The closure on the back, and the bone tube defect. Vitamin B12, it will keep the body nerves and blood cells healthy and help make the DNA. Okay. Iron supplement, we talk about it, support the increase of maternal red blood cell mass. Again, I keep choosing the same nutrients for you guys to focus on them, and that you can start having an idea of what kind of problem we can have and how can we prevent this problem. So what was I saying here? I mentioned folate, okay? And I mentioned the zinc here. So what did I write here? During pregnancy, infancy and childhood, the body need the zinc to grow and develop properly. The zinc is also helping enhance the action of the insulin. But it may also have the interference with the folate. And in that case, we may need more folate. Just make sure that we don't prescribe over 800. All right. So I will come back. I will come back to this one. I think you guys can just read over this one. The high risk of pregnancy factors. We mentioned them already. The maternal weight. Also about the age. I did not talk about the age that much. Ideally, we don't want the mother to be over 35. Talk about the age and other factors that may, that may happen. So next week I will focus on the high blood pressure, diabetes, and other chronic disease that we may encounter. All right. So and then we're gonna start the part related to the lactation. So this first part, very important that we had them down now to really understand what is required, for a healthy mother to have a healthy child. Okay. So the second part, we now look at the lactation, why breastfeeding is important. All right. In the meantime, the nutrients that I get to you guys, it's important to know what they do, what they prevent. All right? Very important to know that. So next week we're going to start looking at the lactation part and how much milk the mother should be producing, and also look at the energy that is required, and look at different volume size. Because one of the problems that we're having today is we're having many mothers who don't want to breastfeed for different reasons. So we look at that as well. Okay. All right. So sorry again, you guys did not have the PPT. So I will see if the system is working this morning, so I can upload it, and then we go from there. Just remember, next week we have a quiz on chapter 1 and 2. All right. Hopefully I can upload the study guides today, and we go from there. Okay. All right. So let me stop here for today. And then, if you guys have some questions, come and see me. If not, now you know that alcohol is not good, right? Have a nice day, and I'll see you next week. Okay, okay?
Okay.
All right.
글씨 뜻을 몰라. 이거
안녕하세요.